Pile of sheds. This ain't no Lakoski pile of sheds. But these are all Georgia. I got there's about 20 here that are from a farm I had in Missouri that I owned, and then all these right here, this is all Georgia sheds. So hey, if you're from Georgia or the Southeast, you know how hard it is to find some sheds. So kind of proud of these. There he is right there, looking for this buck, which is Nabby, and that was a bad day for Nabby. But anyway, got a little backstory information for this buck, which is Knobby, and 2 other bucks that I was able to harvest all right here at my house in Georgia. So appreciate y'all sticking around for this. Comment, like, and subscribe. Hey, I'm gonna leave this right here, and then we'll go work on some bows, talk about them other 2 hunts, and then I'll go get the European mount of Knobby, and we'll put it back down here together with the shed. Well, welcome back to the Bone Collector YouTube channel. It's time for a check-in. What has T-Bone been doing? What has T-Bone been doing? Well, we're at the first part of December, which means late season. It has been a screwy year, I guess you could say. Kind of weird. We've been in a bad drought. We've had a few of those over the last 10 years, but this one has been extremely bad. Had to wait real late to get our food plots in. Had some pretty good deer showing up at the first part of the year, but when drought hit and we got all the food plots planted waiting for rain, a lot of them just kind of disappeared. So 2 or 3 of the ones that we've been wanting to target just hasn't been showing up. You always wonder, you know, you like, did the neighbor kill them, or you know, is there some type of EHD, or did they just move on, or did a younger bruiser buck push my superstar off? You just never really know what's going on. So, and then plus rut, you know, they're chasing Tootie, so they're running all over the place. But starting to get a little more consistency. The deer going back to their bellies, so we're getting a little bit more of a routine on the deer. So we're getting dialed in for this last little 6-week push here in Georgia. So that's what's going on the hunting front. We finally got some moisture. I actually just got done with 2 days worth, 5 inches of rain. So that's going to serve those food plots well to take us through late season and even into the spring when turkey season comes in. But other than that, I got 2 properties. We put in a creek crossing. We cleaned up around the lake. It's got a 3.5 acre lake on it. We put in a food plot in the very back of it. It's a beautiful piece of property. And then we're renovating a house on a property that's next to us, and that's been an ongoing thing. I mean, I have literally all these gray hairs because of that. So I am not into the construction type stuff, and I'm not a superintendent by no means, but we're getting it done. It's been about a 1.5-year process, but that has taken up a lot of our time. So those are the 2 side projects we've been doing outside of the normal of working on bows, tuning on bows, working on archery stuff. Got some cool things coming down the pipe with components. I just can't get enough of that mad scientist type things. Might even share some of this stuff with you. So as far as like FOC and things like that, you always think like, oh, we're here, we're finally getting some good components, but now we're splitting hairs and trying to polish it on up to where we can get that perfect bullet. So been working on that, you know, got the projects going, and then just trying to spend some time with the family and stuff. So stick around. Been thinking about some of the past hunts and stuff, because you always reflect back, like you're worried about this season, and like, you know, you got 20 years worth of history here on this property, over 20 years. So you think, are they doing like they did in the past? Or remember this deer that I killed, remember how they did? And this year has just been totally different than the things in the past. But we're getting, like I said, we're getting dialed in. But you know, it's always nice to reflect back on some of the kills in the past, and you can always get little nuggets of information to maybe help you in the future. So yeah, I've been blessed with some good hunts here on Casa de Bone, building memories, legacy, so to speak. We're going to head on into the bow room. Going to tinker around on a few things. I got to level up a sight, and hope everybody is having a great season. I know through social media I am seeing some gollywhoppers being killed all across there. We love for you guys to share them with us. Hey, there's one thing at Bone Collector and the Brotherhood that we are all about, and that's celebration. If you were happy enough and thought enough about shooting it, whether it's a slick head or a new state record, we want to be there and we want to celebrate with you. And we hope that you're having a great season and filling plenty of freezers. That's what it's all about. You know, we mentioned, you know, thinking back on some past hunts and just like the deer movement and the deer behavior and, you know, just trying to figure out these things. Well, there's several hunts that come to mind, and naturally you always think of the big mature bucks. Well, in 2020, I was fortunate enough to kill two good ones here on my place. I mean, that was the perfect storm. That'll never happen again. And then killed another good mature buck. Actually, it was a buck that we tried to get Nick on in 2021. Those 3 bucks right there, though, something that was a common denominator on all of them was how you, you know, play the chess match, so to speak. If you're from the South, you know that we hunting basically vampires. I mean, they're vampires. They just show up at night, and I'm sure everybody's frustrated. And this can work anytime throughout the year. And this is something that I really do think that helped me with these bucks, getting these bucks on the ground and figuring them out was, sorry if I'm stuttering, I'm trying to do 2 things at once, and my pea brain just don't let me do that. But like if you have a food plot and you're getting pictures of them on the food plot and everything's at night and you're like, man, how do I get them to daylight? How do I get them to daylight? Well, not a lot that you can do to get them to daylight, but something that I have seen work pretty good is to backtrack them. And what I mean by that is you kind of got a good idea if you're looking at your maps, if you're looking, you know, and studying them all the time, you know where their bedding area is. And you hate to push the envelope of getting in on the bedding areas, especially in the mornings and stuff like that, to intercept them. But something that worked for me is to backtrack them. Start going backwards, taking yourself like some Big and J, some bait, and you know, putting it out there, backtracking, doing like 100 to 200 yards at a time back towards their bedding area from where you're getting the pictures of them, you know, after dark. In the evenings, and this paid off on all 3 of these bucks. Is as you push back, you got the camera set up there, and you'll see that you're getting them earlier and earlier, so that you know that you're following their travel pattern all the way back to their bedding area. And then what you do is just try to find a place to where you can intercept them and ambush them on them. And you can see in the video, I mean, all 3 of these kills right here is following a huge ditch line coming from an area that we never penetrated. It was always a bedding area, and we intercepted them, you know, long before they ever got to our trough feeders and the big food plots. So no different than like what most people do in the Midwest, where they're intercepting them before they get to the grain fields or the soybeans or anything like that. You just try to push it to where you can find them and get on along their trail in the daylight hours. And then of course, you know, watch your weather fronts as far as, you know, cold weather coming. Biggest thing is barometer, where the pressure's rising. Seems like they always move a lot better and a little earlier, so you can get on that. And that's what we're going to do, you know, for going into this late season, because we've had such a screwy season so far, and you know, we got some decent deer, and we're just playing cat and mouse with them, and then hopefully we get on them this late season, or we're counting it on anyway. But in the meantime, we're doing more bow work. And you're asking yourself, what is Tbone doing? Well, I'm leveling this sight. We're leveling it first axis so that it tracks, second axis, and then third axis. So shooting up and down hills, it's level, and it's off a little bit. So we're gonna take our time and get this joker leveled up. Oh yeah, that's definitely off third axis. Check it out, level here, not level there. So we're gonna get this one right. All right, this one's level. I gotta tune some broadheads, or check the tune on the broadheads, I should say. The old mega meat. I just like to have them precise, so to speak. Actually, the hunt that we're fixing to watch here, this was on, you know, it was on Monster Bucks. It was actually on Bone Collector. You can look back on my outdoor TV and see it as well. It was a hunt right here at my house in Georgia, and there's a little bit more backstory to it than what you see in there. We had been watching the cameras. This deer, we hadn't got our food plots planted yet. It's early in the season. Big frame, 5.5-year-old 10-pointer. It really blew up from the year before. We'd had him daylighted 2 days before. It's early season, really, really hot. I mean, smoking hot. And the way the winds are around here is we don't really have winds in the evening and everything. The thermals just kill you as far as scent goes. So hunting in the redneck blinds really works good as far as keeping your scent down. So it was a Friday. It was the 25th of September. The reason I remember that is my son's birthday. And my buddy Brian, who we work together all week long, and he films a lot for us. So we had filmed the 2 days before, and I said, no, go ahead, go home. We're not going to hunt tonight. It's Archer's birthday. We're going to dinner. And he left. He usually leaves early on Friday, so we wasn't going to hunt, had no plans of it. And it was killing me because this deer is daylighting, and you know how that goes. I mean, you get them daylighting for a few days in a row, you better capitalize because they're not going to do that forever. So my wife and my son said, hey, we want to go to dinner early. As soon as they got out of school, we went to have dinner. And while we were at dinner, I was like, hey, guys, what we got planned for tonight? I said, do y'all mind if I go hunting? I said, we'll watch movies and continue the celebration right after dark. And they said, oh, yeah. I think my son wanted to spend some time with his buddies. And, of course, my wife had had a long work week, so to speak. They said, yeah, go hunting. I'm like, oh, my gosh. But I had to film it on my own, which I ain't no cameraman. But I was like, I'm not missing this opportunity. So I took the camera and the Tacticams and everything and got up in the stand. And there I am set. I mean, I'm sweating. It's 90-something degrees. I had all the windows closed in that thing. And out comes that deer. I mean, a solid an hour before dark. Lots of does was out there. He made his way up there. I got 28 minutes of raw footage of that buck before he would commit in. And it wasn't just like I could, because I was trying to film it, I couldn't just shoot him whenever I could. He got in there. I had to wait to where everything was lined up with the camera. So I'm sitting there waiting. He comes all the way up, changes his mind, goes back down to the water oaks, eats under the water oaks, come all the way back up there. Just didn't feel right, never would commit and come into the big and J pile. So he goes back down, comes back up, and then he's committed. He done seen the doe's been eating there. He's committed. He comes in. I get the window open, the camera's rolling, and lo and behold, 25, 26-yard shot, and the old mega meat hit its mark, which I got one right here, just like that. It's actually one of the first deer killed with the mega meat. We just had come out with it the year before, and man, it's just been proving itself left and right all across this country. But then I got to come back down, made a good shot, seen it was a good shot. Cohen, our producer, came up to film the recovery and got my son involved on it. So we called it the birthday buck. So he went with me in his school uniform to recover that buck. So yeah, and to this day, that is still my biggest Georgia buck with a bow for sure. We just getting settled in here. Redneck blind right here at Casa Tbone on the home turf. Got 3 bucks that are on the shooter hit list. 4 out of the last 5 days in this spot. We got a big 10-pointer coming in here, so hopefully we get to sling some more dead meat at them. Got the big and J and the corn chummed out. Hopefully we get one of these vampires to cooperate tonight. The deer moving early, and out steps the buck we like to call the Toothache 10. don't know if you can see me, but I hope you can hear me. Whee! The leprechaun. Self-filmed it. Gosh, man. That mega meat blew right through him. I'm sure that it's my biggest buck with a bow in Georgia. Whew, man, what a feeling. It's a buck we've had trail camera pictures for 2 or 3 years, and he has exploded, blossomed this year. We call him the toothache 10 just because he's just a pain in the, just throbbing like a toothache. The arrow's laying right there. We done parked right there, and hopefully we can trail him up.
Be careful, John.
Dude, the toothache birthday buck. Come on, Art.
Holy!
That is by far my biggest Georgia buck. My grandma would say, Daddy, what a bug and nowhere to light. Happy birthday, buddy.
Oh, thanks.
What a buck, man. And you know what's good about it?
Slice that like
We can drive the buggy right there.
Exactly.
Like right there.
Hello, my name is Archer Turner.
And I'm Tbone Turner. And I'm a bone collector.
collector.
And it's your birthday. Ah! Happy birthday, son.
Thanks, Dad.
Yeah, blow out the candles. you know, harvesting deer or killing deer all across this country, and it makes it, you know, it's no matter how you do it, but it just seems like, I always say this, I sound like a broken record, the pride factor of owning this own land, having it since 1999, you know, growing these deer and doing everything 365 days, and then the way it all went down on my son's birthday, every little box that we're checking just adds to the pride factor. So I hope you enjoy the hunt as much as I did. And I tell you what, we always about celebrating. Make sure that you like it and comment below. Tell us about your best buck in your home state. We'd love to hit a like on your story. So share it in the comments below. Another deer, same year. Fun fact, this is a deer we called HOGG, not HOGG because he's a big deer, but because my son had named him Hands of God because he's a real tight rack, only 13.5 inches wide. Looked like, you know, praying hands, so he called it Hands of God. But a fun fact about it is the same evening that I shot the 10-pointer that we just watched, 400 yards to my west, my cameras are going off showing this deer is daylighting 400 yards from me in the spot. So these two deer were on my place. Never got the same picture of both of them on the same camera, but they traveled and used the area within 400 yards of each other. But I never got HOG on the camera that the 10-pointer in the area he was. It's like they had their own areas, like there was an imaginary wall that kept them out of that area. And we're only talking about a 95-acre tract of land, but that evening that I had shot my son's birthday, when I shot the 10-pointer, not 400 yards away, daylighting was HOG. And where he was located at was an area that I couldn't really push to. It was in a very tight bottoms, and I know if I didn't get it done on the first day with a bow, that I wasn't going to be able to. So in the summertime, knowing this, that was his travel corridor from his bed, we had cut him off and was getting daylight pictures of him. I took a ground blind and set it up about 80 yards away. Muzzleloader season comes in before rifle season, so it's about the 12th of October, 12th or 13th of October. So I said, just in case I have to do it with a muzzleloader or with a rifle, I want to get something set up to where we can, you know, snipe him off, so to speak, if things work out that way. So planning way ahead in August, I took a ground blind, set it up, and then I took my skid steer with those root balls, and I took and put root balls all around it so it just looked like a pile of roots. And we had a ground blind in there, and it was 85 yards away from where he was daylighting in our Big and J pile, on his way to a bigger food plot, on his way to our trough feeder. So, you know, he was daylighting. So now I'm waiting. It's the 25th of September, and I'm just staying out of there. Low pressure, low pressure, low pressure. And watching him every evening or every other evening, he's showing up in daylight. So we stayed out of there, kept him good and happy, waiting for the 12th of October because I just did not want to screw this deer up. This was a really big deer. I mean, like, buck of a lifetime for me. Actually turns out to be, even to this day, my biggest buck, period. And it just so happens to be right here in the state of Georgia. So he ended up grossing 186. Really, really big buck. Just had all kinds of gnarly witchcraft. He wasn't a fighter. He was a lover. He was 6.5 years old. And, man, just all the pieces of the puzzle lined up. And 2020 for me, I actually killed my biggest buck with a bow in Georgia, biggest buck with a bow period, which was on my farm in Kansas at the 1st of September. And then of course this buck was a 186 that I killed with my muzzleloader. And as of now, I think it's still the #2 non-typical with a muzzleloader in the whole state of Georgia. So truly a blessing, but add the pride factor of doing this all on your own land and doing the chess match for 365 days a year and putting the plan together and everything working out. Man, I'm telling you, just a little bit of a backstory, a little bit of stuff that you may not have picked up on My Outdoor TV and the way we edited for the Bone Collector show. This is a hunt for HOGG. I hope you like it. It's opening weekend of muzzleloader here in Georgia, and we're hunting on the home property. And we've got a couple of mature deer, one of them that we're after that's got a heck of a history, and man, he's turned into a freak this year. And it's basically, we're after him or nothing all season. He's been showing up right at last light. So now that it's muzzleloader season, we're going to try to get him, because we've set this rhino blind up about 100 yards off of where we're seeing him at last light. The BC Triumph muzzleloader. We got corn, we got a freshly planted food plot, and we got Big and J. So we got a smorgasbord down there, and he's been loving it and been low pressure. Gosh. We are tugged out in Georgia. I mean, absolutely. I've never been tugged out on bucks this early in Georgia. Never. And to kill him right here on our own land in Georgia. Whew, Brian, man, we did it. God dog. I'm about to
good, I could tell.
I'm about to freak out, man. I ain't lying. We're gonna give him a little bit of time. We're gonna go get the buggy and we're gonna go hunt him up. Stay tuned.
Look, right there he is.
Yeah, we call this deer HOGG 2.0. Actually, my son Archer named it like 3 years ago. Double main beam. Golly. Look at the tines.
Tagged out.
Look at him. I'm serious. I mean, I've stared at so many pictures of this deer. Golly. Look at there. There's the bullet right there. He sucked it all up. There's the bullet right there.
Yep.
There's old Horny Day right there. You know, we talk about all the time, we farming for deer. And we can honestly say that right here. Seriously.
Absolutely.
All the years that we've got in this thing, all the food plots, all the feed, all the Big and J, letting him walk the last 2 years, and he blowed up this year. And we let the old TC Bone Collector Edition 50 cal bark today. First time in too, wasn't it?
You got him, boy.
It's October 12th. I cannot believe I am tugged out on bucks in Georgia. I am officially on doe patrol for 3 months. So the following year, which is be 2021, it's in October, the end of October, muzzleloader season. Well, it actually wasn't muzzleloader, it was actually rifle season, but I still had my muzzleloader, and I said, you know what, I'm just gonna hunt with my muzzleloader. And this here's Nabby, so that's what we're gonna look at now is the 2021, but there's a lot more detail into this deer right here, and the reason why is because in 2021, actually 3 to 4 weeks before I actually killed this deer, the hunt that you're about to watch, I was diagnosed with cancer, which is a myxofibrosarcoma, which is a leg cancer Usually happens in male adults over 50. Anyway, it was extremely aggressive. We'd been watching it since July, and all the biopsies, and we had tests, and it took like 3 weeks for the biopsy test to come back. And at the very end of September was when I was diagnosed with cancer. I'd actually already started chemo, I think the same week that I killed this deer. So this was the last, I killed this deer knowing that I had cancer, knowing that I had a really big fight ahead of me, chemotherapy, and more than likely was going to have my leg amputated once we got through the chemo. We just didn't want it to spread anymore to anything vital, so that, hey, so we could keep me here on earth. So we was fighting, we began our fight, and this was the last buck that I was able to kill with my leg still attached, and it was while I did have cancer. So this is the only deer that I did kill in 2021. It was a 6.5-year-old deer. You can see that, like right here, he's a 6-pointer, and you know, he had incredible mass. But yeah, this was the buck that I killed that year, so it's got a lot of special meaning to it. And then my buddy at Skull Mill Works, he engraved, man, he did a fantastic job. He bronzed it, put the state of Georgia, put Tbone, my little fat stick man logo, the yellow ribbon, which is for sarcoma cancer. It's got Realtree logo. It's got the Hornady muzzleloader because that's what I killed it with, and then it's got the Bone Collector logo here, the date that it was killed, as well as, you know, his age and stuff like that. So he did a fantastic job bronzing this, as well as, you know, doing all the engraving. So this one's got a, like, kind of a, I don't want to call it special, like, well, it just remind me of that year and how blessed I am. And you know, it'd be real easy to say like, woe is me, but you know, at the end of the day, as bad as it was, it could be a lot worse. So that is Nabby. We tried to get Nick on this deer at 5.5. He hunted a couple of days here with us, but he never did come out in daylight, so we had to wait till the next year. And then here's even more to the backstory. Is the year before, in 2020, I found a shed, and look at this. Look at that stem that came out when he lost his shed. I seen this. I seen it from about 15 feet away, and as soon as I seen it, I could smell something rotten, and there's an abscess in there, and there was all kinds of pus and stuff. And anyway, I thought, well, if that gets infected, you can tell that he was a lot better, you know, the year before on this one side. And I said, man, he's really going to grow. But by losing that stem, I said, well, if he gets abscessed, he could die, or you don't know how that rack's going to turn out. But you can tell he kept his mass and, you know, grew a kicker or two, but he definitely suffered on this part of it. But you can see that big old knot right there on the skull from where it was affected when the pedicle pulled out. That big stem came out. So these are some tough creatures right here. But this is the hunt of Knobby. Little backstory on the year before. And tell you a little bit about my last, this is my last buck with a right leg. Temperatures have dropped, the wind's blowing about a 12 to 15 mile an hour. High pressure, got orange on because it is, actually today is open day of rifle season, but I'm toting the muzzleloader, perched up here in the redneck blind. And hopefully old Knobby, that's the one I want really bad. There's two more that I would shoot, but Knobby's the one I want. Just got lots of history with him, know he's 6.5 years old. Tried to get Nick on him last year, and didn't get it done, but he's still around. Got old gnarly, big old glumpy leg, but it's gonna be a good sit no matter what, right here at Casa Tbone. Glad you're here with us. I shot, and it was right at last light, and it was a muzzleloader, and man, it was nothing but fire come through the thing. I think I squeezed a good shot. Everything went good. I think I got old Knobby. I think. Last minute. These old nocturnal vampires. He made it out through here. There ought to be some blood right now. Nabby! God, look how big them bases are, would you? I didn't even realize. Look at that. Cans. Knobby, that's what we called him because of his, that's been messed up for 3 years, his front leg. I thought I was gonna have to cull him. I thought, man, he ain't gonna make it. But each year, man, he keeps coming back, man. These are warriors. And he's not been doing the same thing. I mean, I guess because he's getting older. Last year, he was so predictable. We was trying to get Nick on the same deer the few days he was here in December. And I was already tagged out last year, but it's actually rifle season. But I continued to hunt with the muzzleloader. Same one that I killed that good non-typical here, and he died within about 25 yards of right here where we're at, so I'd say it's a pretty good spot. Old homegrown Nabby. Muzzleloader.